My name's Harvey Ayliffe and I've been a chef for nearly 25 years now. And in that time I've been lucky enough to be executive chef and head chef of some of London's most exclusive and prestigious clubs and restaurants. I'm here today with Tom Hixson of Smithfield, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make a fantastic Beef Wellington for Valentine's Day. We're going to use this lovely Argentine beef from Tom Hixson's online. I've got some nice chestnut mushrooms, some parma ham, some tarragon. I'm going to show you how to make it. It looks like quite a big bit of meat for just two of you, but believe me, you'll eat it. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my pan nice and hot. What we're making is what they call classically a duxelle. Usually you blend them raw, but I prefer to cook them. I like to seal off my meat in a nice hot pan and then finish the mushrooms after I've sealed my meat off in the same pan, so you've got all the flavours there. And then we're going to just cook them down, and then we're going to blend them into a puree. We're going to put a little bit of mustard on our beef once we've sealed it off, and wrap it in parma ham and the mushroom puree. Just get these just nice and easy, slice them up nice and easy like that, like so. As you can see, kept them nice. The chestnut mushrooms are not much different from your usually cultivated mushrooms, but I find they've got a nice flavour. I'm also going to add a bit of tarragon because I think it gives a nice aniseed flavour, and I think it goes really well with mushrooms. I'm just doing the stalks and all because I'm going to blend it down in the end anyway. So now we're pretty much ready to start sealing our meat off. So we're going to season our beef really well with salt. Nice bit of rock salt on that there, as you can see. Be generous because a lot of it comes off when you seal your meat off, and a nice bit of pepper. Seal it well all sides. Now all we're actually doing is searing, so we're not actually going to cook it. We're just going to get the pan to a reasonable high heat, and then we're going to sear it off. So I've seasoned it, been very generous with me seasoning now. Make sure you've got a tongue. Make sure my pan's hot but not boiling hot. What I'm going to add is I'm going to just add a little bit of olive oil. Now as you can see, you've got a nice colour on that. I'm just going to pop that on a plate. Now we've got our beef out and we're resting it, we're just going to add a nice bit of butter. See, I've been quite generous with that. Now I'm going to add my mushrooms. That's what you want, that nice sizzling. Nice bit of salt and a nice bit of pepper. Just going to pop the heat up a little bit. Want to get a nice bit of colour on these mushrooms. To get rid of that, while I do this, I'm just going to pop this into the fridge. So there we're going to just toss them, get a nice colour, as you can see. When they've got a nice, they need to be softened nicely. Once the beef's chilled down, we're going to smear some Dijon mustard on it, and then we're going to put our mushroom puree on the top of that. The more you sear them, the more cut juice will come out. You want the juice to come out and then reduce back down into the mushroom. Now I'm going to add my tarragon. There's a little bit too much there, in my opinion, so I'm just going to smear a little bit of that on. Give them one last blast. The tarragon, we want to cook the tarragon. Now as you can see, we've got a lovely colour on our mushrooms. They're nicely roasted. I'm just going to spoon them into my blender and give them a nice blend down. Really nicely coloured, as you can see. Well cooked and well seasoned. And we don't want to blend them too smooth, just chop them up really. You can do it by a knife if you like. I just think it's easier to do it with a vise. Now you want to transfer them into a container so they can cool down. Test your seasoning on them, should be lovely. Made a nice little duxelle. So now what I'm going to do is a pastry. So this is a lattice cutter. So I'm just going to dust my pastry there, put a little bit on my lattice cutter. So you don't start at the very end, give yourself a bit of space, and then you want to push nice and firm through there, just like that. All that's going to do is just going to give you a nice design on the top. Because that, and I feel that you don't want this pastry so thick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that one there. Now it's nicely cut. I'm going to pop that in the freezer. Now I'm going to do my puff pastry ready for my tart. So I'm going to roll it out, just as bearing in mind that we've just got this pastry, so you don't want the pastry double as thick. So I'm just going to roll this out a little bit, thin it out so it's just not quite as thick. Top cover. You want to also get your oven set up. Set your oven on 180 degrees. So that's it, that's perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold them. I'm going to drop that in the freezer on a plate. So now for our ham. So as you can see, I've laid that ham, nice slices of that ham, laid it out. Next what I'm going to do is I'm gonna spread it. Find a spoon. Just get this. It's that lovely duxelle we made earlier. Still quite chunky. Just gonna lay that like so. Spread it. I don't like to do it too thick, as I find otherwise you've just got a sausage roll with just mostly mushrooms in it. It's just a nice smear, just so you get a lovely flavour on that. The ham's gonna extra season it because it's quite salty. Just spread that on there nicely. And then I'm gonna get out my fillet, which is sealed off, and I put my Dijon mustard on. Now I'm gonna lay that in the middle like so. Now we've got that laid, I'm gonna just push the sides like that. So I've got a connection. I'm gonna get a roll like so, and I'm gonna just push that in like that. And I'm just gonna roll it. Now I've got that nicely rolled. I'm now gonna move on to my puff pastry. Now, as we see before, a nice piece of puff pastry that's sealed down. Slowly remove that like so, and gently remove that. Place that on my puff pastry. So it's nicely wrapped. Now this is an egg wash. I don't know if you know what egg wash is, but it's basically just a whisked up egg. Some people put milk, but I just use egg. So I'm just gonna brush the side of it there, like so. Brush the other edge there. You just move that pastry up and I roll it over. I'm just gonna set it like that. I'm just push the edges down, push them down well. Tuck that in so it's nice and tight, like so. Remove them edges, like that. Use the back of my knife to push that down. I'm gonna remove the edges. Don't want too much puff pastry underneath, like so. Gently, I just wanna lift it up. I'm gonna put a nice little spray there, and then we're gonna turn that over like a parcel. So there we got it. That's the first one ready to go. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna egg wash the whole thing like so. This is gonna give it a nice colour, and it's also gonna help your next layer of pastry to stick. So as you can see, it's quite neat. I've got it quite tight. You find it better if you actually drop once you've rolled your ham and mushroom. If you put it in the fridge again, it does make it easier to handle. This is just gonna give this a little tug, as you can see, just to separate, just like so. Just wanna make sure you nicely separated that before you start. And I'm gonna pull that down like so, down on the front and the back like so. I'm gonna lose all that there. Just gonna tuck it around like that. And then I'm gonna brush it with my egg wash. Just gonna nicely egg wash this. Put our oven on 180 degrees, and we're gonna slip it in the oven. General rule of thumb when you're cooking a welly is you generally cook it till it's nice and golden brown, but what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using a probe. So as you can see, we've got a nice coating there. I just like to finish it with a little bit of pepper across the top, a little line of salt. Transfer that into a tray. Just transfer onto a tray like so. Just the last bit of egg wash on the edges there, and I'm going to pop that in the oven. Final part, just took that out of the oven. As you can see, looks absolutely amazing. Absolutely beautiful. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Remember, you can buy the wonderful beef from Tom Hixson's online. They've been going for many years and they're a great company.